Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for a weekly angel reading for October the 16th through the 22nd, 2017. So let's just take a moment to take a deep breath together and to really connect into our spiritual alignment. Just allowing your energy to really expand within your heart chakra. Just feel your inner light just expanding right from the core of your heart space. And feel that golden light just moving out in all directions. Let it flow through your body and go to wherever you feel any sensation or that may not, that may be like a sensation of pain, or if you feel suffering somewhere, just allow that golden light to permeate right through it into the core and feel it with divine love and healing. And whatever worries that sort of pop up into your mind, again, no resistance, but just allowing that golden light to fill those worries with its divine healing and unconditional love. Release any judgments, any feelings of guilt or shame. Just let all of that go. And see the word help and some of the word lock. Some of you feeling like you're stuck in something, you're trapped, you're feeling locked down, or somehow you're looking for help to find a way out of a solution, to find a way out, to find to a solution. And they're writing years, and some of you have been, this is something you've been dealing with for years, and you're seeking answers. I'm even seeing a heart shape, which kind of almost look like a box of candy. So this may be dealing with a relationship that you're in, or I feel like it's more that's a relationship that you're in. They're writing out the word love in big letters, and it may be some of you are writing the word open, that you're wanting to open your heart to love, or you're hoping that someone will open their heart to you, and that you're looking for the answers. Something where in a relationship where it's a new or existing relationship, one of you is holding back and is not opening up, and you're afraid to have that conversation, that of honesty. Now the romance angels came through in my meditation, so now I understand why. But yeah, it needs to move towards an honest conversation, and you can't be afraid of expressing love. You can't be afraid of, in a relationship, about communicating, because the more that you don't communicate, the more things that your ego can replace replace, I don't want to say this, the ego can replace that clarity that the open communication can afford you with illusions, suspicion, and fear. And you think that, convince you that by waiting it out, or you'll be safe. They're writing out the word safe. It's like you it's like you think you're safer to do nothing, say nothing, express nothing. But all that's doing is, on both sides, it's creating fear and suspicion, and a lot of guessing. Okay, I don't even think it's in some cases, I don't think it's something um, malicious or anything, but it's just a lot of, empty guessing and you know, coming up with all kinds of ideas of what may be, when you can just really open up and go right to one another, the source, and find out what it is. The truth, only thing that can set you free is the truth. And the lies, that the illusion that the ego creates, they're illusions. And so truth sets you free, not lies. Lies don't set you free. So if you're ever thinking in whether it's this kind of love or romantic relationship or any kind of relationship or any kind of interaction, if you're ever thinking it'll be safer to just say nothing or kind of keep moving on, moving around it, the issue skirting around it, this is not wise, because the only thing that can happen is that this security is more fear than reality. And it will just make it so that things just keep building in each other's minds that are just all not based on fact or reality. Okay, sometimes when you're when something's personal, it's hard to read what's going on, because you got this, the clarity is there, but you have this ego, your ego is desiring you to keep yourself safe, and so you're in this struggle, and you can't. It's hard to break the cycle of this struggle, and because you're afraid of losing something, and so you want to secure. You rather hold on to what you have, even if it's not the best, and that's what we do quite a lot. And there's another thing that we kind of believe, that our heart is not wanting what you're wanting. There's almost like it feels like in those moments that the heart is the one causing the confusion, because your heart is saying, here, let's go for the truth, let's be honest here. And it feels like to you, because your ego is making it this way, that your heart is the one creating the problems, where it's not your heart that's creating the problem, it's the ego that's creating the problem. And you really have to learn to start trusting your heart, trusting your instincts. It's your heart wants what you want, always. You want what your heart wants, because that's what you're really following. You're never separate from it. And so even if you feel like you're in this dynamic where you and your heart are on opposite sides, then that's the ego that just created a split hair between you, creating the idea of separation. What you're referring to as other is actually your ego. Whenever you're having a conversation where you feel separated from your heart, or like it's other, like you're talking about your heart in the third person, that means the ego has created a split there. Do you know what I'm talking about? How you wrestle sometimes with decisions. A lot of decisions that you wrestle with, it's not because the truth is not apparent. It's because you feel that, well, put it this way, it's like you don't want to let go of something that your heart, it seems that your heart is asking you to let go of something that you want. But your ego is not, your ego is creating that for you. Your heart is actually guiding you towards something that you truly desire, that will bring you that peace, that freedom, and that relief. That's what your heart is always doing. It's peace, freedom, and relief. It's guiding you there. And when you do follow that, there are going to be better opportunities, not something less. It'll be something more. But you also got to understand that change is this way. You can't. There may be something that is needed to let go because it's holding you back and hindering you. But what we do is that we do an internal battle with our heart, and that's where we will say we're confused. I don't know what to do, and you may keep getting a repeated sign, and the only thing that that repeated sign does for you is, freaks you out, and you keep trying to rationalize or justify the thing that you don't want to let go of, and the thing that your heart is asking you to do, and you feel like your heart's the enemy at that moment. So that kind of situation is where um, you have to come to terms with it, and start trusting what your heart is asking you to do, because your heart is always guiding you towards an open, honest relationship, not just with another person, but with yourself. That's what it's really all about. And once you become more honest and open with yourself about what you feel and what your heart feels, because it is you, when you become honest about what your heart's feeling and what it wants, then you'll be able to trust your decisions. You'll know. It's like, but it's a practice. You have to do this. You have to practice doing this, and this trust and this knowing will become stronger. Because the reason that we doubt is because we allow the ego to drive a wedge between the self. We say the self and the heart, but they're really the same. The soul, it's all one, right? We talk about the will of God, but there is no other. It's the will of God. It is a part of you. It is what you desire as well. But the ego kind of has us thinking, well, you don't know what that's gonna ask you to do. I mean, do you really know God? Can you see Him? I mean, should you really do that? I mean, because it's trying to remember, the ego's not evil, but it's afraid of everything beyond its borders, which is very tiny. And so, everything that God would offer you is infinite potential. The ego is focused on lack and limitation, not potential, not abundance. That's a world it doesn't believe in, and therefore it's scared. So when your fear goes up, shield goes up, it's always going to do that when an opportunity comes, because the ego is afraid. It doesn't understand where you're going. It has no insights, not an inkling of what that is all about, what that means, what is abundance, but all it knows is that it's beyond the walls that it has put up, that protects itself, its own fortress. And so you have to be the one to be tuned into your heart. You have to trust your heart. You have to trust that clarity. Underneath all that confusion of decisions when you're trying to make one is clarity. It's there. It's always there. But we don't want to acknowledge it because we're afraid of the things that we're going to have to let go of. And that scares us. We are really comfortable with what is known to us, what's familiar, even if it's not the best thing for us, it's not good for us. We've learned to cope. See, these are all mechanisms, devices of the ego, coping. And so that coping can turn into comfortable, So your comfort zone can be a sort of a ego thing, because you start to become complacent, and you get comfortable, and you got your little routines and everything going on. And then here comes life, a natural occurrence within the universe, this one form that's consistent more than anything in the universe is change. And what does change lead to? Change is the process for the abundance and opportunities in your dreams to develop. It's the vehicle for it. And so if you get too comfortable, then it's like change becomes this meteor hitting the earth and blowing your world apart, when it's actually the complete opposite. It's shattering worlds of illusions that you've built. It's opening up your heart, so that you can let more light in, let more peace, more abundance, more freedom, more love. It's there to keep you from building walls and locking those doors. And going back to that word in the beginning, you've locked that door. And so don't be afraid right now of change coming through like a big ball, bowling ball, and just knocking those doors wide open. And that's also what's going on right now too with the ascension process, is that we have been able to build walls to keep others out and build all these fancy locks and security systems, to keep everybody out of our hearts and to keep ourselves from experiencing too much change, which is another word for control by definition. When we want to control the change, when we want to keep too much change from happening, we rely on another technique of the device, a tool of the ego, which is I don't know why today I'm forgetting like my words here, but you're control. So you're using this control, and so it, now the walls are coming down. You see, and the changes, your prayers. What's happening is the universe is responding to your vibrational offering, the prayers, your desires, your hopes, and it's lowering those walls, and the change that is happening sort of coming like a bowling ball, just knocking at those walls and knocking those doors down, hitting, clearing away those locks, so that you can align with your truth, that you can be connected with your truth, which is your desires, your purpose. So it's a bit frightening because you forget that you are wanting to go towards these changes, towards your dreams and your desires. Because in the old paradigm where the fear was stronger, we didn't realize, the change wasn't hitting us just quite as hard as it is now. And you could still hold on. You could keep your walls steady. You could patch them up. But now it's difficult to patch them up, and it's difficult, and the change keeps coming. And so now you have to get used to letting go and of that control, and start. The only way to really heal this, because the changes are going to come, but you got to start putting into practice being honest and open about the clarity that comes to you in your heart. It's always the foundation, because truth is the only reality that exists. Our illusions are just playing around in there, but they don't have real power. They only have power that you give it, so you react, and then it seems like it's taken over. But what you have to do is go to that clarity. Start being open and honest. So communicate openly and honestly, and you'll see that this putting this into practice will start to soothe. Now, it's not going to soothe it in a way that it makes, because that's what you want. Because we want to control, we want to fix it. You want people to feel good. You want people to like you still. You want to feel validated. And I'm not talking about that. That's not a guarantee, okay? But if you're open and honest from that place of love, from that clarity, okay? Because clarity can only come from love too. From that clarity, you speak because it gives you peace, freedom, and relief. You communicate, or you make decision or choices. Your actions are taken from that clarity. People may not agree, but they will, that's the word respect, okay? And not only will they begin to respect, but that respect will probably evolve into appreciation and gratitude as you are becoming an example of a way for them to access their own clarity. So you have to be willing to support this clarity, which is a gift from God, by being this in an open way, in an open and honest way. And you will change the dynamic of your interactions and relationships. You will draw and attract to you a whole new level of experiences through this. So, and then the changes and the dreams and the goals that you're pursuing, it will be easier for you to feel more blessed as you are going through your journey, going through your process of awakening. All right, so let's take a look at the card for the, the theme of this week for the 16th through 22nd. Okay, so it's always great when Archangel Michael comes up, because what we've just been talking about is integrity in itself. And he's reminding us here with this card to remember who you are. And what he's drawing your attention to is a key element of the ascension process, which is we have your soul's language and communication is completely different from fear, from the ego. There's nothing similar, nothing common. There are no links. And one of the things that we try to do when I was talking about that confusion when it comes up is because we're trying to make links. We're trying to infer them, and they just aren't there. And you know it because you feel it, the confusion. You feel less like yourself. You feel like you're off. And it's coming from not being clearly honest and open about what your heart is asking of you, what it's desiring, the choices that it's leading you towards. Because you are looking at your heart in the third person like it's not you. But it is the better part of you, or it is actually the greatest part of you, or a grander part of you, the grander version of you. And I don't mean that because I keep trying to change it, because I hear them say they don't want you to think like one is better than the other. It's you, but it's the expanded version of you, the you that's more you than any you. Let's just put it that way. And so therefore, it's your power. They write out the word power right there in front of my eyes. It's your spiritual power. And it's important for you to learn, for you to surrender to that power, to that clarity. From there, your struggles will no longer seem as to test you as much, because you are not testing it. Meaning you are not, and there is no test like pass and fail, but what it is that there, in the sense that you're not resisting it. It's never resisting you, so that's why it's never testing you. God isn't testing you. God is always offering you. But you think God is testing you, but the test is your resistance. Your resistance to going beyond. They just wrote the word out, beyond. Going beyond where you are. When something goes, you say, oh, God is testing me because you are afraid to go beyond the borders. When you go into that world of the unknown, which is the unlimited opportunities, you start saying that God is testing you because all of a sudden you start to meet with some challenges. Well, of course there are going to be challenges, not because there's a test, but because you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And you are owning that ego's perspective. And when you can't own your ego's perspective and own your divine perspective at the same time. There's no connection between them. There are no similarities, nothing, nada, okay? And so you've got to start releasing that and embracing that there's going to be your soul has a different way That's all. It's not testing. It's just different from the ego, that you are so familiar with all the ins and outs of how it works. And right now, we have to become familiar with how our soul works. And it's by lowering the, we were talking about this before, by lowering the walls, now we have no choice but to be able to work with it. And so the way things don't seem to always turn out the way we want them, or they're going wacky, like communication. Some people list it in the comments, communications, or that are, electronics and all kinds of things. But this kind of thing is just helping us to reposition our attention towards the clarity of our soul instead of relying on the ego. Because what we've been doing has been relying on the ego to feel better, and all it does is draw us back and away from the things that make us happy. And instead of feeling better, you feel miserable. You may feel guilty or regret, or frustration, because your soul, your heart is not going to let go of your truth. It's not going to ever, say, stop being the best version of what you desire on any subject. It's never going to stop being that. It can't. And so it's like an alarm to that, the misery or the negativity you feel. You want to embrace it as an alarm that's keeping you in integrity. It's helping you to remember who you are. So if you can not resist this sort of, the downside, and see the downside is because there's an upside, you see. Upside calling you. And so the downside is just the alarm to the upside that's calling you towards it. All right? And then the only thing left for you to do is go, okay, well, what is, even if you can't admit it, like if you find it hard to admit that, let's say they want you to move, your heart is asking you to leave this relationship, or to leave this, find a better career. Even if you're scared to admit it, just go ahead and do it. And then just start playing with it and see what's out there, see what's going on. Put your feelers out there before you actually go ahead and take the plunge, if that's going to make you feel better, just to see what's going to come from it, just to see what may happen. You may think that you can't even get past the first stage because your ego is telling you that, but you discover that you can, because you're thinking to yourself, well, I have nothing to lose, so let's just see. That's what I would say to the ego when it keeps doing that. Just say, okay, so you're afraid, but let's just see what we have to lose. Let's just see what can possibly happen, rather. I mean, we don't know if we're going to lose something until we do. And then, even then, you're not going to lose what you thought you were going to lose. You're probably going to lose this idea that you were weak, or that you were that you were unworthy, or the other word I'm looking for, that you may find out that you were more qualified. I mean, and I mean, and that's hard, especially when your ego's been telling you that you were completely unqualified for something, and you never try for a lot of things because you say, well, I'm not qualified. Your ego is telling you that, because the universe would never test you in that way and never speak to you in that way. But you got to go ahead, even though the ego says something negative, just go ahead and do it anyway. So say to it, okay, so since you're telling me I'm a loser, then I have nothing to lose. Get that? So it's like, that's what you say to the ego. All right, let's take a look at, and Archangel Michael says, you are a powerful, loving, creative child of God. You are very loved. And that's very important for us to hear. You're powerful, not weak. So if the ego is always telling you you're a loser, then say, okay, then I have nothing to lose. So here I go. All right, let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week. And we have the Sun card. And we had this card in the daily card messages this week. And this card I love because it's jumping over that wall. And we've been talking about those walls. And this card is indicating that this is the time right now. and he has his trumpet. He's blaring that trumpet. He's expressing himself openly. This is not the time to hide in, or hold back or keep something to yourself, to keep ideas to yourself. This is not the time to, you know hide your light. This is the time to shine it. You are a source of energy and an inspiration, and so therefore let that light shine. And so when I see this card, it gives me a great feeling about anything that I'm thinking about doing, something that I feel really motivated about, something growth. Right, not the word growth in front of me. So this is a time of growth. This means that something that you're planning is going to grow because it has the power of the sun nurturing it, just like plants and everything on the earth. So this means that it would be a great time to do any such thing, um, negotiations or whatever, under this kind of energy, right? If you're feeling charged about something, then go for it. All right. Um, let's see. Let's take a look at the next card. And don't be afraid to jump over those walls. Don't be afraid to take that leap into that new territory. All right. Let's take a look at this card. So this is another great card to have with this. And also look that, he doesn't have everything. He has very little. He's wearing very little. He's exposed. And that's that vulnerable. That's reminding us that you're going to feel vulnerable when you come out like that. Okay? So don't let that hold you back. That's going to be there, because the ego is still a part of our experience. And so you use that, turn it into a way to drive you forward, to keep you honest, to keep you aware that there's an upside when that downside keeps, blasting away. All right, so this card in the middle of the week talks about beginning opportunities, beginning ventures, is what the Ace of Autumn means. Something growing, something starting, something blossoming for the first time. Although this is not tradition about love, but it could be that a relationship, or something shifts in your home, because this is, the Suit of Pentacles is about the home, your work, your finances, family in that way. So something could be shifting in your life, and if you have some kind of financial obligation or idea, that a financial venture you want to start, this would be the ideal time. The card says a windfall of money, advice, or assistance from others, a very successful project, a happy change in your career. So again, we have these two cards together, and having faith in some ideas that you're getting, or receiving, or some solutions that come to you. Go ahead and work with those ideas, because they're going to pay off, okay, in the end. So don't be afraid that something may not work out, or that you don't have just because right now you don't have a lot, but you're starting out with a little, but that little is the right direction for more to come. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So don't be afraid of how things are beginning. Just know that you're starting, the purpose or your service is starting in the right way, and it's all about the start. And they're writing, they don't want you to procrastinate. So don't let those changes sort of get in your, you know don't let the changes overwhelm you, okay, and cause you to procrastinate, or I'm saying the word pause. They're saying don't listen to people and what they have to say. This is new. So whatever this is right now, you need to keep it tight with the people who share your enthusiasm, or the people who are supporting you, the people who are going to be working with you in something. It's not the time to go share it with everybody who doesn't understand the dream or doesn't understand the project or the changes that you're making. Go ahead and you can still work, um, and just to do some investigating, sort of set some things up, start networking a little bit, getting more concrete support, and then you can start to um, open it up or expose this idea or plan to others. All right, don't. Sometimes we start thinking about, like, maybe there's something you're gonna be doing in your home, or you're thinking about moving, but you haven't talked to the someone else about it, that may involve them. And right now at this stage, you don't have enough information to talk about it. So wait until you have enough um, information before it gets to the point where you've already gone and done it. Now, I'm not telling you to do that, but don't talk about it now until you have enough to share with them, so that you feel like that you give them, that you can really discuss it and see how it works for both of you in that situation. For right now, just go ahead and check it out and just investigate and see. Okay, you're not, you know, putting anything on paper, signing documents or anything like that. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the card for the end of the week. Okay. So this card is usually about emotional loss, um, and regrets and feeling sort of bummed out about something. And so we were just mentioning that. And so I'm getting a sense, it says, trust that there is a reason for everything that happens, okay? And we've been talking about this. So the thing is, don't get so, don't get your, you're in the beginning, you got this energy, everything's flowing. Don't get, don't get caught up by, or disappointed by expectations or your expectations, so you need to be a little bit flexible, be a little bit more, you're going through a process of change. It's a great time to start everything, and you're going to get off to a really great start. It's going to have a lot of momentum, but kind of, if you go move too fast, or you take, then you may find yourself getting easily disappointed. Or if you, stay calm, stay. It's not over yet. Okay, so stay in the process. Don't get is what it is that we keep end gaming, like, we keep focusing on the outcome, and then we're in the process, we're in the journey, and then what happens is you get restless, or you become impatient with the process. You stop enjoying the process, which makes the outcome seem like, this burden, because it's so far off. And it's like when you're working out and you say, I'm gonna work out for 60 minutes, and then all of a sudden, you start to work out and you're enjoying it, and all of a sudden, I remember one time my music went off and I didn't have music, and now I wasn't motivated anymore, and I was like at 25 minutes, and I couldn't imagine. It just became really difficult to get through, and I didn't finish. But if I hadn't based it on the condition of having to have my music in order to do the workout, then I would have been able to finish. I had focused on something more internally. It would so that's what I'm saying. Don't make everything about the outer experience. Focus on the emotional inner experience of what you're doing. Make that your sort of measurement for the success that you're achieving. What is this giving you and offering you, the gratitude and appreciation? Stay there and be patient with how things are unfolding. All right, let's take a look at the card I already pulled from the bottom of the deck. And I just saw something on the Five of Summer, which is also important too. It says, remove yourself from negative emotions of others. We just spoke about that, focusing on that which frightens or worries you. So all of this we've spoken about already. So this card really punctuates in a important and significant way, in that don't let yourself get caught up in the negativity of others, which means trust your instinct. There, not to share it with certain people. The clarity is always there. It tells you, but sometimes we get excited. We just want to tell somebody. Well, tell the right people. Follow your heart. Trust your heart. You know, don't put people in the situation to say something to disappoint you, when you already have been guided by your heart that they are not going to disappoint you, but they are not in the right place to hear you. It doesn't mean that down the road that they won't support you, but if you tell it to them now, when your heart is telling you that this is not going to be an open, an honest communication, uh, that because the clarity is not there on the other side for them to receive your clarity, then trust your heart. Okay, so this card, the Ace of Winter or Swords, talks about another. See, this is another lot of new beginnings, new ideas, new ventures we're seeing. We got two aces here, so this means that this card reminds us that that new things come with challenges, but then the challenges are really your own resistance, not the resistance outside of you. The outside isn't resisting you, it's because it's how you're focused, right? How you're perceiving everything. So you're not being tested by God. You're what you're doing is you're being tested by your own resistance. And why you're being tested by your own resistance is so that you recognize I'm resisting, so that you then seek to allow. That's it. There's no test, no pass fail. You are the one grading yourself. And this is just a little mechanism, law of attraction, to kind of keep you honest and to keep you from severing from your heart's desire. It keeps you from being completely detached. So when we bump into our resistance, negative emotions, or conflicts with people, this is just an alarm system helping to keep us honest with our heart so that we don't completely sever relationship with the heart and become a split personality, if you will. So be at peace. Be at peace. Be clear. Be honest. Look for that underlying clarity, even if you find it very difficult to say it out loud to yourself because you feel like by saying it you failed yourself, or you discovered that you're not what you thought you were. Okay, and the only thing that's going to be is that you're going to discover that you're not what your ego is telling you, and that's a good thing. All right, so I send you lots of love and angel blessings. And thank you all for joining us here. I've been reading your comments, and I'm just still going through them, and I will start to share some of the things that people have given me. There's a way that I think the angels want me to do it, and one of the ways we've been doing it is on the Facebook page. We had started a sort of a link there where people were adding their ideas about what they've been going through in the ascension process. I'm feeling maybe a meditation video is probably one way this is gonna happen, but I will continue to work with the angels and see how best to suit you. But you can continue to leave your comments about what you're experiencing in the ascension process. I'd like to really hear about this piece that we were talking about, that clarity, when that confusion comes, but you and being honest with your heart. And if you have comments you want to leave in the links below in the comments section, that will be really helpful to a lot of people when you share how you deal with that, or how you find yourself sort of looping into this confusion when you have a sense of the clarity, but you're just afraid to go with what your heart is saying. And so if you haven't joined us for the daily card messages on Facebook, you can go to the description link below this video, where you can follow us this week for the daily card messages, Monday through Friday. Also, if you're looking for an angel reading with me, you can go to my website, theangelschool.com, and on the services pages, you can find the angel reading. There's a first time promotional angel reading discount there, so you can choose that one if it's your first angel reading. And I look forward to hearing from you all this week. So I send you God's blessings and peace. Be clear open, and honest in all your interactions and communications. Put this into practice despite your fears, and God will bless you even further along the path of your dreams and the opportunities that you're seeking. Until next week, I love you, and we'll talk real soon. Bye.